Get that other ball. Perfect. Good boy. Earl, how old are you, Tiger?
Daddy.
Two?
From time to time, there comes a young phenom who carries an it factor so profound and overbearing, you wonder if he was put on this earth for the sport he or she is currently playing. Think maybe Tiger Woods in the 80s, Leo Messi in the 2000s, or even Coco Gauff present day in the 2020s. In all of these examples, we know very quickly that there is something just different with these athletes. The natural ability, the confidence, and the mental toughness is all there from day one. Yet, despite the true rarity of these phenoms that are actually once in a generation type prospects, due to the 24/7 news cycle combined with social media that leads to the need for more and more content to be delivered, we find ourselves forcing narratives for young athletes simply because of the buzz and attention it can bring. When it comes to basketball, there are truly only a handful of players over the last 20 years that are legitimately one of a kind, can't miss, unicorn-like type of prospects. And although he's arguably the most hyped up player since Zion Williamson, I am here to confirm Mikey Williams is not one of them. So people's kid, how we doing? It's your boy Kobe back with another video, and as always, hope you guys are having a blessed day. Real quick before diving in, please understand this is not a hate video on Mikey whatsoever, but more of a larger discussion on the problem with overhyping young players and the consequences it can cause for kids at such a crucial point in their development. Per usual, if you guys enjoy the content, please make sure to like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a bunch. And with that said, let's hop right into it.
If I set my mind, I can go. I can go. Get in good college, I can go. But if I don't, I ain't gonna be no drug dealer, cry about it, come back and, stick up gas stations and nothing like that, Probably going to comedian or architecture, something like that.
In discussion of the greatest movies of all time, I honestly don't think I've seen a flick more authentic and more real than the documentary Hoop Dreams. Released in 1994, the story follows two 13-year-old hoopers from Chicago who have a burning desire to play in the NBA. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend you go watch because this is not your ordinary basketball movie. One of the players, William Gates, is a blue chip recruit who is frequently mentioned as perhaps the next Isaiah Thomas from a very young age. Although he is extremely talented with great potential, you the viewer quickly start to realize as the documentary continues how difficult making the NBA really is in this game we call life, as the plans we set out to accomplish are burdened with roadblocks we may have not anticipated initially. Nonetheless, without ruining the movie for you guys, let me just say the documentary teaches an incredibly powerful lesson on failure and the fact that it is a lot more nuanced than you may think. Because even though you might technically fail at the original goal you set out to accomplish, the true accomplishment of overcoming real struggle and misfortune is far more important than fulfilling any narrow childhood dream. I got to admit, the first time I saw the movie, I thought it was a story on failure. Yet on my second watch, I realized I wasn't watching a story on failure after all, but rather a story on success. Anyways, with that context provided, let me introduce you guys to Mr. Mikey Williams. Born in June 2004 in San Diego, California, Mikey first held a basketball at 10 months and has rarely let go ever since, quickly becoming a gym rat from his early days. I chuckle because may I remind you guys, Mikey is only 15 years old, yet he has become a national sensation, ranked as the #1 player in the class of 2023 from since he was in 7th grade. Alongside several national news outlets profiling Williams' ability, Mikey has racked up 1.5 million Instagram followers and is followed by the likes of LeBron, Kyrie Irving, and Champagne Papi, aka Drizzy Drake. In fact, a lot of his notoriety came from playing with Bronny Jr. in AAU after it became clear he was the one player on the team that was actually outshining the son of LeBron James. Currently a freshman at I can't pronounce that word, high school, the hype has gotten even bigger after Mikey showed he is actually a walking bucket. In his varsity debut last November, Williams dropped 41 points, and 8 games later, he scored a ridiculous 77 points to break the California freshman record for one game. At this point, you might say, Kobe, what is the point of this video? If Mikey is already scoring this much as a 15-year-old varsity player, there is no doubt he'll make the NBA. Well, my friends, let us take a deeper dive into Mikey's game with a quick little scouting report. First things first, from my initial impression on Williams, one of the biggest strengths I personally noticed right away was that of his jump shot. With solid range and a high release point on every attempt, Mikey has no problem taking and making shots in traffic, off the catch, or off the dribble, showing quality touch from all areas of the court. As a ball handler, I was actually expecting him to be a bit more polished here, but combined with great footwork, his handles get the job done most nights. Touching on his driving ability, Mikey can go both left and right, although I did pick up that he ultimately does like to come back to his right side. In finishing at the rim, Williams is already showing that next level of absorbing contact of his defender and putting the ball in the hoop. Becoming more comfortable with his left here though in driving and finishing will make him that much more effective of a player. Moving to his floor general capabilities, although Williams does bring the ball up, I could not find much playmaking with this game, and it appears he's mainly focused to score the rock when he has the ball in his hands. With respect to his frame as it relates to the NBA, you can see he has good, not yet great frame, currently sitting at 6'1", 175 pounds, but at 15 years old, you hope there's some room to grow. On defense, while Mikey is going to need to put a lot more effort in than he has so far in high school, I'll give him a pass for now since it has only been a few months. And finally, I think my biggest takeaway with Mikey is the amount of swagger that kid plays with is absolutely incredible. He has a very high level of confidence for someone that age, and there is zero doubt who is the alpha male of his teammates on whatever team he is on. Yes, that includes Bronny. So with all this said, was I blown away by Mikey's game in a manner that signals he's a surefire NBA prospect? Drumroll please. The answer to that question is a resounding no, and here's why. Despite putting up crazy numbers at the moment for his high school team, it is obvious upon watching any highlight tape the competition he's playing is not really even worthy of being on the same court as him. I mean guys, there are some teams he is facing in which he's close to being, if not the tallest player on the entire court at 6'1". In addition to this, getting back to his physical makeup, he really could utilize a few more inches both in height and length to really take advantage of his athleticism that is bringing him a lot of hype. As he faces stronger and stronger opponents, I don't think some of these drives are going to be effective in the long run, as he does lack a bit of shiftiness in the open court and while penetrating the lane. And even at 6'3", 6'4" territory, Mikey will not get away with his limited playmaking ability, and this is certainly something he needs to improve on, arguably more than anything else. Simply put, he is still quite far from the NBA, and these next few years will determine if it will become a reality. Yet, regardless of these hurdles, the biggest roadblock to Mikey reaching the league has nothing to do with Mikey's current game and everything to do with the players in his current age bracket. They are all going to get better, and some of them are going to be the players nobody ever expected. Think about it. At Mikey's current age at 15, John Wall was cut from his high school team before he had a crazy growth spurt that came with some serious bounce. Kyrie Irving wasn't even on the national radar yet, playing for Montclair Kimberly Academy before playing for St. Patrick's. And Anthony Davis was 6'2" and wasn't even being looked at seriously for D1 basketball. Those are just 3 examples of countless in which legit NBA players broke out after the age of 15. In fact, I'd argue the majority of NBA players can't really be identified until their junior and senior years of high school, where the speed of the game takes a step up across the board. Now look, I don't say all this to discourage Mikey from pursuing his goal to reach the NBA. I just think it is important for him and the media to understand, 1, there's a good chance he won't make the NBA, and 2, that doesn't make him a failure. Too many times we've seen guys like Jayshon Augusto, Julian Newman, Seventh Woods, who were all considered future NBA prospects at a young age, simply not reach the level that was expected, and we look back as if they fell off or something, or if something had to have gone terribly wrong. Nah man, the fact is they happened to be in the spotlight early and their development played out the exact way it was supposed to. I make this distinction because getting back to the perspective of these young players, who I think are the biggest victims of this hype mentality, they deal with a warped sense of reality as teenagers in which they see themselves as the chosen one, and then once it doesn't happen, their world shatters around them and it is a crushing blow to both their psyche and their self-worth. Attention to all young hoopers watching looking to make the league. Just because you don't make the NBA doesn't mean you aren't meant to do great things in another endeavor. Chasing a dream is awesome, but when it is time to come to grips that it might not work out, there's nothing wrong with that and you can work on making your next dream a reality. I think this message is critical for Mikey to hear because man, just watching more about him, I am honestly worried at how much people are hyping him up to be the next big thing when I don't know if that praise is really warranted. And don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled to see how happy Mikey and his family look for his current success, and it's an awesome story. No doubt, it probably felt amazing to see his Instagram with over 1 million followers when he was just at 2,000 like a couple years ago. But as we all know, with excitement often comes expectation, and with expectation can come devastating disappointment. The expectations that can be especially dangerous are the financial ones, in which current financial decisions in the household are made on the expected amount of money a high school player will make when he hypothetically makes the NBA. And it only gets worse when you talk about boosters and college recruiters who will become pretty much predatory in seeing these kids as great money opportunities to get in on the ground floor of their future professional career. Don't get it twisted, guys. You cannot expect to make the NBA. It is something that either happens or it doesn't. In some ways, you have to understand some of this stuff is predestined from the start and you can't hang your head if it doesn't work out. I'm just praying somebody's in Mikey's ears letting him know this, getting him to truly believe it, because make no mistake, the next 3 years of his high school career will absolutely define the trajectory of his NBA dream. Will he make it? Well, nobody knows for sure, but what I do know is that just like William Gates from Hoop Dreams, reaching the NBA is just one small dream that pales in comparison to the dream of finding your version of success and happiness, no matter what it looks like. Anyways guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Another interesting discussion on a topic I don't think gets brought up enough. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Mikey's journey and hoping he reaches the league, but there's no way I would ever put expectations on any 15-year-old to accomplish that goal. What do you guys think? Is the hype culture becoming too much? What's your opinion on Mikey Williams' game? Comment your thoughts below. With that said, hope you guys have a great rest of the day or night or whatever time it is. I'll be back at it soon. Peace out.